All right, folks, my take on all this, the so-called reconciliation bill as we know it, that is from the House Budget and Ways and Means Committees. The Senate never did produce a tax bill, but no matter. The reconciliation bill as we know it is dead, completely dead. It died last night with a bold and brilliant statement from Senator Joe Manchin. We're going to review that in detail in just a moment. I just want to note, along the way today, the cleverness of the Republican leader, Mitch McConnell, who moved the Senate GOP to vote in favor of a continuing resolution without any debt ceiling changes. So there will be no government shutdown. The Democrats are still on the hook for the expected increase in debt. Now, just moments ago, the House approved this CR, continuing res, which I think goes to December 3rd. Now, there may be an infrastructure House vote this evening. I say maybe because it's not a done deal. No one knows for sure. And if there is a vote, the outcome is still up in the air. Left-wing progressives may boycott the bill. Moderate Republicans may support it. Frankly, at this point, nobody knows. But I'll put that aside for a moment. The big issue is the $4 trillion plus reconciliation budget, which Senator Manchin killed. Now, there may be a new budget resolution, and a new budget resolution may contain Manchin's conditions, may also include Senator Sinema's concerns about taxes and spending. But I think a new budget will require months and months of renegotiation and might not ever get done. And the version right now, if brought to the Senate, frankly, would lose 52-48. The federal government may wind up living on temporary budgets for the next year, maybe not optimal, but it's been done many times before. But Mr. Manchin's statement was very clear on several accounts. First, massive and unnecessary spending he calls fiscal insanity and will jack up the inflation tax that falls most heavily on the middle class. Second, he insists that all the Democratic social spending proposals be strictly limited with means testing for eligibility, and, crucially, must include work requirements. For weeks and weeks on this show, we pointed to the lack of workfare as a major problem in the Democratic budget, one that degrades the dignity of work and cuts into the very social fabric in America, and it ends opportunities for those who become dependent on the federal welfare state. Mr. Manchin is on to this. He's repeated the means testing idea several times, including his statement last night and his press conferences today. So this is a good thing, but it is very, very important. Now, a lot of people are pointing to a possible top-line Manchin number of $1.5 trillion. Now, we've been reading a memo from Mr. Manchin to Chuck Schumer dated this past July. That's probably where the $1.5 trillion comes from, though Manchin has told people privately his range is $1 to $1.5 trillion. Today, he seemed to stay with the $1.5 trillion. But here's the rub. It's the content of the budget policies much more important than the top line. In this memo, Mr. Manchin insisted on needs-based means testing, along with targeted spending caps on existing programs. And I quote, no additional handouts or transfer payments, end quote. He also asked that no new legislative funding can be dispersed until all of the COVID legislation money is spent. And on top of that, he also said the Federal Reserve must end quantitative easing. Wow. And on energy, he said the sole jurisdiction on any clean energy standards must be the Senate Energy and Natural Resources Committee, which he chairs. And he wants spending on innovation, not elimination. He wants fuel neutrality. He wants carbon capture research to include coal and natural gas. And he argued that if tax credits for solar and wind are included and extended, then fossil fuel credits must not be repealed. So when I say reconciliation as we know it is dead, I'm suggesting that Mr. Manchin's conditions on transfer payments, entitlements, and fossil fuels will be really incompatible with the prevailing ideologies of the far-left progressives that dominate today's Democratic Party. Last night, we called it mutually assured destruction. Well, it's happening. Now, undoubtedly, there will be more talks, negotiating, haggling, and whatnot. But it's going to take a long time, in my view. Mr. Manchin is going to get his strategic pause, and I am all for it. Now, he's being attacked by the left as a Republican infiltrating the Democratic Party. But you know, I've been around long enough to remember that the Democratic Party used to have plenty of fiscal conservatives, especially from the South and the Midwest. And they were variously called blue dogs or yellow dogs or whatever dogs. I like dogs. I have a dog. And I like those old blue dog Democrats, of whom Mr. Manchin is one. Years ago, my former boss, Ronald Reagan, passed his agenda of tax cuts and defense buildup with the help of blue dog Democrats in the House. Now, Senator Sinema has recently been described as a John McCain independent of sorts who will vote her beliefs. She is opposed to the corporate tax hike. My kind of gal. Mr. Manchin favors a 25% corporate tax hike and a 28% capital gains tax increase. Well, I'm sorry about that, but we'll get to all that later. Right now, reconciliation is dead. I believe there's going to be a long pause. And so I have a happy face. The country will benefit. Save America. Kill the bill. That's my riff.